Hey, how's it going, Mr. Holton? My name is Josh Barksdale. I'm friends with Andrew Johnson, your granddaughter Heather's husband. Andrew and me were talking recently, and he said he had been down in Valdosta, and you guys were talking gardening and whatnot, and hydroponics, aquaponics. I haven't dealt with aquaponics. I am familiar how the system works with the fish, but I have not attempted it yet. But I have been running hydroponics, and I thought I'd make you this short video here on just the basics of what you're going to need. All this right here, depending on whatever system you want to use, if you recirculate it through PVC pipe or you run it through buckets or in tubs passively, all this mix here, the fertilizer, your scale to weigh it, pH up and down, your calibration, and the meters are all going to work for any kind of hydroponic system you're going to use. It's all going to be pH based and parts per million on the fertilizer based. This is the fertilizer I'm using right now. This is pretty much the standard in the field of guys that are doing it seriously, and I got this from a guy that's a commercial grower. But this is Master Blend International, and I order mine from Morgan County Seeds. You can see right there. MorganCountySeeds.com. You can get anything you need for your fertilizer base on this Master Blend. And then you have to add in your calcium nitrate to bring up your nitrogen number in the mix on your NPK. This is also from Morgan County Seeds. I order it through them. And then just Epsom salts, which you can get at the grocery store. That'll add your magnesium to the water. The mix per a 5-gallon amount. So for every 5 gallons of water, you're going to mix 12 grams of calcium of Master Blend. I'm sorry, it's going to be Master Blend at 12 grams, calcium nitrate at 12 grams, and then your Epsom salt is going to be 6 grams. And that's per 5 gallons. Every 5 gallons you would add that 12 grams of Master Blend fertilizer, 12 grams of calcium nitrate, and 6 grams of Epsom salt. That's a full strength amount for the 5 gallon of water. So that would give you a full strength mix, which it would be around 1,000 parts per million, which is the amount of fertilizer contained in the water. This is a hydroponic water dissolved solution, and when you do mix it, you want to mix the Master Blend 41838 first and dissolve it in the water, then mix your calcium nitrate and dissolve it completely, and mix your Epsom salt and dissolve it completely, each in 3 steps. You cannot add these all together and at the same time mix them, because they will not bond correctly. The fertilizer has to go in and break down so the calcium nitrate ions can bond and bring up your 4 on your nitrogen, which is very low. So it has to all mix in steps so the fertilizer will come together and will be usable by the plants. So that's one thing I don't think people mention when you see videos online, that this does have to be mixed to allow the fertilizer to bond together correctly. The way you're going to measure that, just a kitchen scale, digital scale. You'll measure out, your 12 grams, and 6 grams per 5 gallons of water. You measure those separately there. Once you put that in 5 gallons, you will test your parts per million, which is your total dissolved solids, with a TDS meter. That's going to tell you the amount of nutrient in the solution, and this is just a calibration solution to know that your meter is accurate or in the ballpark there. You just need to be in the ballpark on this with this meter. This says it's 1,000 parts per million. A lot of times mine will read 950, 975. On the pH meter, this is going to test your pH, and I'm sure Andrew said you garden a lot and you're aware of what pH is. And in hydroponics, pH is the most imperative part, because it keeps the plant being able to pick up the nutrients readily. A pH swing too far in either direction, either too acidic or too base, will cause nutrient lockout. even a slight swing will cause the chelated micronutrients to be not locked out, like your iron and your trace elements. So this pH meter and this calibration meter, these are just Hanna Instruments meters, and I ordered them online. They're not very expensive, 60 bucks, 50 bucks. You keep them calibrated here. On this is very important on this meter to calibrate to your, it's two-step. You use the 4.0 acid base and then the 7.0 neutral. It's a two-step process, which is digital, and you'll punch it in, and you want to keep them calibrated and stored each time. I'll clean these, and it's important to use distilled water or clean rainwater that's been set out to rinse your meters after you use it each time, and store it either in the 4.0 or the 7.0. I usually alternate so it has a reading of both back and forth. But I always want to keep this clean and keep it damp. Don't ever want to let it dry out. And then the way you would adjust your pH in the water is with pH up and down, which is this is a citric base crystalline, and that'll lower your pH. And this is like a baking soda based crystalline that will raise it for you. That's a base, and this is an acid. So that's how you would bring your pH up if it was too low, and lower it if it was too high. When you mix your fertilizers, most times, if you had a 7.0 neutral water, which would be rainwater, your city water, I don't know if you're on city water or well water. Well water is hard water. You have a lot harder time with it. City water is usually okay. I have used rainwater here and city water, but most times if you've got a 7.0 to 7.3 or 4 water coming out of the pipes, when you mix in your fertilizers, it'll lower it some. You may have to put some pH down in it to lower it, and if you get it too low, you can always come back up with the pH up. But that's basically the basics of what you need. All of your fertilizer mix, your calibration solutions and meters for testing, and your pH adjuster, and a scale to measure it out. Of course, you can custom tailor this. You can cut it down, like for beans. I think right now I've got beans and lettuce running in my greenhouse. I'm not running at that full strength because they don't need it, and they don't really use that much to grow like a tomato was. So I think I'm running 8 grams of this, 8 grams of the calcium nitrate, and like 3 grams of Epsom salt. So you can kind of cut it down. Tomatoes and big things like melons, cucumbers, they're going to use a lot of fertilizer. Beans don't, lettuces don't, greens like mustard greens. I'm running a pretty low nutrient content right now in the greenhouse. But I thought I'd just give you a little how-to video on what's basically needed to put it in whatever kind of system you want to use. I'll send you some more links to videos from guys that I've studied online, the guys that turned me on to this nutrient solution from things I was using. The stuff I was using was working fine, but this is a lot cheaper. It's a concentrate, it's dry, and you mix it by what you need, and it'll go a lot farther. But I'll send you some other little things, videos and links that you can study on. But once you get it going, you got to keep the pH adjusted correctly, and test your water nutrient solution, and then change your water about every 45 days, and you should be good to go. So I hope this helps you get started. Thanks.